Greetings folks, Dan here, and welcome back to another edition of Kaiju Showcase. Today we have the camera set a little bit lower, and that's for obvious reasons. We're going to be taking a look at the 1983 Bandai Gubira. Old mold, of course. And I'll explain that in a little bit. As for detailing, it's got the basic stuff. It's a quadrupedal kaiju. It's got the 4 legs. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can count. Amazing. The middle part of the body is segmented. Don't try to turn it. It's oval. It's not going to do it. You'll probably end up screwing up the toy if you try to do that. The detail is good for the most part. It's an older toy, so you got to give it a little bit of benefit of the doubt for that. I mean, it's almost 30 years old. The back legs aren't quite right because, of course, the guy in the suit had to be his rear legs were he was kind of on his knees, so that's not right. The tail is generally okay. You can see the outline of the tail, but they just designed it as one big piece. So I mean, again, older toy. Paint job is completely wrong, except for the yellow, which I can understand, but it was not blue, nor was it this kind of creamy off-color white. It was more of a brighter white, and there was no red on the front of the drill. Red, if you can see that. The lips are right though. I mean, they're kind of a reddish color, I think, if I recall. I don't know. I can't remember. I just watched it and I still can't remember. Now it seems like I'm downing on the figure, but I'll explain that in due time. Aside from that, the texturing, the detail is actually, it's pretty good. I like that. We're going to go ahead and we'll get yardstick out here. Right there. So obviously, a little on the small side. But it's a quadruped, it's understandable. It's not going to be like this tall. It just wouldn't work out that way. But no, it's a shorter toy. It's about, a hair over, 3 inches, give or take. 3.5 inches. And just for sake of comparison, which I'm kind of surprised nobody's reviewed one of these yet. This was actually the reason I did the older toy, because I assumed everybody would have done one of these. Here's the new one, just to see it. And for size-wise, this one's actually uses a bit more vinyl, to me. I mean, it's a bit larger, more robust. So if people complain about, like, oh, Gubira's kind of small, not really. The older one's actually a bit smaller to me in my mind. But there's an interesting comparison for you as well. So you can see the more correct paint job between the two. The toy was released in 1983, as I said. I have no tag, but I can verify this through information and, viewing the differences in toys. I'll kind of break down some of the differences for you. This is the primary paint job for the 83 release. The 86 release of the toy, for the 86 line rather, was a little bit lighter blue with less yellow and less overspray, as you can probably not see, but there's a little bit of blue that kind of runs up and down here, and a little more overspray. It happens. Again, older toy. And then again in 89 it was a very light blue, very, very light blue, so distinctly different, less overspray. As I said with the 86, it wasn't even lighter than this, but 89 is just in a complete light blue. It's crazy. And then lastly, for its last appearance, was the 91 toy line, and its more proper color of black and yellow. It's unfortunate the toy was only released 4 times prior to the newest release, which is an entirely new mold for 2012. But I guess it wasn't a super popular character, but it is really neat in my mind. Aside from that, I mean, various other companies have done it. Bandai's probably, done Gashapons and stuff like that, and Marmot and Marusan's probably done some. And so, I mean, they're out there, but for Bandai, it was only released 4 times, so it is a little bit of an older toy. But despite all the bad stuff I said about it, it does have a lot of charm to it, and I really like it. But that's what I think of the toy. History time! He appeared in the 24th episode of Ultraman, entitled Holy Shit, It's a Narwhal, or The Underwater Science Base. Not a whole lot to say about it. It was his only appearance in an Ultraman show, aside from the newest film, Ultraman Saga, the movie, which was great that they brought back the character that hasn't been around in, a very, very, very long time. 45? No, or 46 years, give or take. 45, 46 years. There you go. He wasn't like the strongest dude in the world. He kind of, he doesn't really have any, doesn't do anything special. It's Gubira. Unfortunately, he did get his ass handed to him, but he's awesome because, he's a narwhal. Narwhal! It's so awesome. But anyway, that's the history. That's it. That's all you get because he just, that was his only appearance. And the last bit is going to be availability. Now this one is hit or miss, really, really hit or miss. As I said, it was only released four times. It's kind of got a little bit of Guyongo going on with it. Relate to my review of Guyongo if you want more information on that. You see him here and there, and most of the time I see him, they're pretty cheap. He's not a really popular figure. I think I got this one for dirt cheap. I don't think the person realized how old it was. I'm very glad to have this original '83 toy in my collection. Gubira just has a lot of charm to him. To me, I mean, he's just so crazy and little looking. But I mean, they're not. I wouldn't say, they're really uncommon. I would say. I mean, I wouldn't say they're rare, but you just don't see them every day. I mean, price is gonna be hard to justify since it's not popular. You could probably get one for 10 to 15 bucks. I wouldn't think it's a big in demand toy, but who knows? Because of his recent appearance in the newest film, it's hard to say. As I said, I was gonna review this one, at one time or another, but I was gonna make a joke about reviewing this and then do this, but surprisingly nobody's reviewed this one, which is kind of shocking to me. And there's actually a couple reviews for this one that I found, so get cracking if you haven't done this one yet. But I mean, there's not really a whole lot to say about the toy. He's only been around once. There was a limited release on him. There's not a huge variation between the toys. I wouldn't pay a whole lot for him, as I said, probably 10, 15 bucks if it's tagged, maybe 20 because it's an older toy. It's really nice. It's of a very hard vinyl. You could, the drill could be considered a murder weapon. I mean, it's pretty stout. I mean, it's not gonna break, but I mean, hopefully not, and don't be too rough with it now. But it's a really cool toy, despite all the negative things I said about it earlier. It's not accurate by any means, but it's still neat. It stinks of nostalgia. It's over 20 years old, so most people consider that vintage, 20, 25 years old. It's still older than that. So it's a cool toy. Get it if you can, if you like Gubira. If not, I mean, the new mold just came out, so they're very readily available. So that's going to be it for this review. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll talk to you guys next time.